Welcome back, dear students. This video is for class 10 subject science chapter number 3 metals and non-metals and lecture number 6. So let us see the content of today's lecture. Today we will be doing alloys and their properties. Then we will see alloying of gold, corrosion, what are essential conditions for corrosion prevention methods, then rusting of iron, which is one of the example of corrosion. Then we will see prevention methods from rusting, summarize the lecture, we'll see the homework and homework solutions of last lecture, that is lecture number 5. So let us begin with our first topic, that is alloys. So from where this word has come, you remember one of the most important property of a metal is their property to form alloys, that they can mix with another metals or non-metals and they can form a new substance, that is alloy. What is an alloy? An alloy is a homogeneous mixture of a metal with other metal or with a non-metal. Homogeneous mixture means the constituents of the mixture will be in the same proportion throughout the mixture. For example, brass is an alloy of copper and zinc, and steel is an alloy of iron and carbon. So here we have examples of one metal combines with other metal, that is copper and zinc, whereas iron is metal but carbon is a non-metal. So we have examples for metal when combines with metal, we have got an alloy. Steel is another alloy which is a combination of one metal and one non-metal. Now let us see the properties of alloy. First property of alloys is electrical conductivity. Electrical conductivity of an alloy is lower than that of a pure metal. Why? Because we have mixed it with another metal and now the property has decreased. Although metals are highly conductive, or you can say the best conductors, but when you are adding either another metal which is not of the same conductivity or some non-metal which is not a conductor, so it decreases the electrical conductivity of the compound which is formed. So hence electrical conductivity of alloy is lower than that of a pure metal. And this we have seen that because of this reason, impure copper is less conductor, or is having a less conductivity than that of a pure copper. Then second property is the alloys usually are harder than the constituent metals. For example, duralium, which is an alloy of aluminium, copper, magnesium and manganese. It is much harder and stronger than aluminium. And you should remember that presence of even small amount of carbon in iron makes it very hard and strong. And this small amount varies from 0.1% to 1.5%. So even this much small percentage of carbon, which is a non-metal, when we add it into iron, it makes it very, very, very hard and strong. Next is, alloying is a very good method to improve the properties of a metal. Either you can talk about strength, hardness. So all these are improved when we are making alloy of one metal. For example, gold. Gold is a very ductile and malleable metal, but it is very soft. So we have to do alloying of gold so that it can be used in the manufacturing of jewelries. Or you can have pure iron which is soft, and this pure iron cannot be stretched easily when it is hot. But when you mix it with small quantity of carbon, it becomes very hard and strong. Then we have alloying of iron with nickel and chromium. Alloying of iron with nickel and chromium makes it corrosion resistant. That is a very good property of it. The melting points of alloys may be higher or lower than the parent metal. For example, solder is a fusible metal of alloy of 60% tin and 40% lead. But it has lower melting point than both of these metals. And that is why this is used for welding electrical wires. Now, how are alloys prepared? Alloys are commonly prepared by melting the required component of metal in the desired ratio and allowing the molten mass to solidify. Here you can see a table. In this table we have alloy, its composition and its uses and properties. So here you can see that first example we have brass, which is a composition of copper and zinc, and it is used for decoration purpose, for making many scientific instruments, telescope, microscope, barometer, etc. And what are its properties? It's highly malleable, low melting point, easy to cast, recyclable, germicidal, high tensile strength. Then we have second example, that is bronze, copper, zinc and tin. The proportion is 80, 10 and 10%. It is used for making statues, cooking utensils and coins. Properties: it is corrosion resistant as it is having tin, good conductor of heat and electricity as it is having copper, and high luster. Then we have German silver. It is having copper, zinc and nickel. Uses: it is silvery white as silver, malleable and ductile. Used for imitations. Silver in making ornaments and utensils for the decoration. Properties: corrosion resistant because of the presence of nickel, hard and tough, and having a high resistivity. Then we have gunmetal, which is alloy of copper, tin, zinc and lead. What are the uses? It is used for making gears and bearings and gun barrels. Properties are resistant to corrosion. Then we have a bell metal, which is an alloy of copper and tin. It is used for casting bells. It is hard and highly sonorous. That means it produces a large amount of sound. Here we have some more alloys of iron, that is stainless steel and nickel. Stainless steel is a composition of iron 74%, chromium 18%, nickel 8%. It is used to make cutlery, utensils, ornamental pieces and some other instruments and apparatus. It is hard and corrosion resistance. Then we have nickel steel, which is having iron and nickel. It is used for making electrical wire cables, automobiles and aeroplanes. Part: watches, armor plates, propeller shafts. Nickel steel is hard, elastic and corrosion resistant. Then we have some of the alloys of aluminium, which is duralumin, which is having aluminium 95%, copper 4%, magnesium 0.5%, manganese 0.5%. It is used for airplanes, spacecrafts, ships and pressure cookers. Properties: in strength, it is very good and as steel, but it is very light. It is hard, corrosion resistant and highly ductile. Then we have magnesium, that is having aluminium and magnesium. It is used for making light instruments, part of mechanized balanced beam. Properties: it is hard and tough. Now we have seen many examples of alloys, their composition and uses and properties. Now let us have one example, which is alloying of gold. So as we know that gold is the most malleable and ductile metal, and it is used in making jewelries, as it has a great luster and it shows the status of a person according to the people. But it is usually alloyed with copper and silver, because the pure gold is very soft, so it cannot be made, it cannot be used to make jewelries as such. But to increase its strength, copper and silver, which are malleable and ductile, they are added to it. Then when we make an alloy of gold, copper and silver, what happens? These alloys, they retain the golden color but becomes harder than the pure gold, and hence they can help that now gold can be used for making jewelries. The proportion of gold in alloyed gold is expressed in carats, with how much percentage of gold you are using in the alloy. Pure gold is 24 carats. That means 100% gold is measured as 24 carat, and the alloys which we are commonly using are generally 9 carat, 18 carat and 22 carat. Now let us see the corrosion of metals. Most of the commonly used metals, they are strong, ductile and malleable. But when they are in use, they get exposed to the environment, and many of them lose their shine and get covered with a colored layer on them. It's corrosion. But some of them, they lose their strength and become brittle and weak. For example, iron. This happens due to the chemical reactions of metals with the environment. And these chemical reactions of metal with the environment in common language is called corrosion. As we have seen that metal, they react with the environment. For example, silver gets tarnished, it loses its shine and it becomes blackish in color. Iron gets coated with a brittle brown colored layer. Copper and brass, they get a green colored layer on the surface. Surface of aluminium also becomes dull and loses its shine. So here also corrosion is taking place. Corrosion takes place on the exposed surface. When the upper layer of the metal gets corroded, then the inner surface of the metal gets exposed, and the corrosion then continues up to a certain depth, and hence it makes that metal brittle, weak, dull. Now what are the essential conditions for corrosion to occur? So in our first chapter we have studied corrosion, and there we have discussed it in detail that for the corrosion to occur there must be two things. First, presence of oxygen, and second, presence of moisture or water vapors. So what are the factors that affect the rate of corrosion? First, electropositive nature of the metal. Higher is the electropositive nature of the metal, lesser will be the corrosion. Second, purity of metal. If the metal is very much pure, then it will interact more with the outer surroundings, as it depends upon its strength. Then we have presence of reactive gases in the air. If there is the presence of reactive gases like carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide and some other gases, if they are present in the air, then for sure metal will react with them and that will form some other products. Then we have presence of electrolyte in water. If there is a presence of electrolyte in water, that will increase the process of corrosion. Then we have temperature. Temperature is having a sharp effect on corrosion, that as the temperature goes on increasing, the rate of corrosion also increases. Now let us see some of the preventive measures. The first one is by surface coating. As we have studied that by painting we can prevent the metal to come into the contact of surroundings. So by surface coating we can do that. Surface coating can be done by various methods. We'll be studying it in the further slides. Then by connecting the metal to a more electropositive metal. Because when we are connecting it to a more positive metal, then the atmospheric reactions will more take place, or they will combine. The atmospheric reactions will shift to the more electropositive metal. One of the example of corrosion is rusting of iron. As we know that iron is chemically quite reactive, it is easily attacked by the air and water and gets rusted. Rusting of iron is the most common example or most common type of corrosion. When iron is exposed to moist air, then that means there is a presence of oxygen and water vapors. It gets covered with the layer of brown powdery material which is called hydrated ferric oxide or rust. When rusting of iron continues over a period of time, iron loses its strength. Now, rusting of iron can be prevented by following methods. First, by surface coating. So, rusting of iron can be prevented by coating the iron surface with oil, grease, paint. So, this way we can protect the iron from coming into the contact of the surroundings. Second, galvanization. Iron can be protected by corrosion by coating it with a thin layer of zinc. As we know that zinc is more reactive metal than iron. So, now first zinc will react with the surroundings and then the turn of iron will come. So this way we can reduce the rate of corrosion. Then the third part is electroplating iron with any corrosion resistant metal. Certain metals like nickel, chromium, they do not corrode. Nickel and chromium can be electroplated on iron, so rusting of iron can be prevented by electroplating iron objects with nickel and chromium. Most of the bathroom fittings, cycle parts, car bumpers, door handles, etc., they are chromium plated. Then by tinning. Tin is also not attacked by air and water. So, tin is also non-toxic. So, the containers used in packing the food items are coated with tin. And this process of coating tin on a iron surface is called tinning of that metal. Then we have alloying. Iron can be prevented by corrosion by alloying iron with chromium and nickel, which are corrosion resistant metals. For example, stainless steel, which is an alloy of iron, copper and one of the non-resistant metal. This increases its strength. And stainless steel, we know that it do not corrode. And it is used for making cutlery, knives and domestic utensils, and most of the manufacturing work is also done with the help of stainless steel. Then at the end we have by connecting iron to a more electropositive metal. Rusting of iron can be prevented by connecting iron object to a highly electropositive metal such as magnesium, because magnesium is more reactive than iron. So magnesium being more positive, it acts as a anode, while iron acts as a cathode, and magnesium does not allow the oxidation of iron, and thus it protects it from rusting. This method is also called cathodic protection. This is used in the cases where underground water fittings are there. So in that cases we use generally this method. Now let us summarize our chapter once, or in this lecture once, sorry. So we have done what are alloys, what are their properties. Then we have seen one of the example of alloying, that is alloying of gold. We have seen that gold is alloyed with copper and silver to increase its strength. Alloying of gold, the pure gold is measured in carats, and the gold which we use is generally of 9 carats, 18 carats and 22 carats. Then we have seen corrosion. What are essential conditions for corrosion to take place, like presence of water and presence of oxygen. Then we have taken one example, that is rusting of iron. Then we have seen preventive methods from rusting. Now this is for today's lecture. Now let us see our homework. So question number 1 of your homework is, which metal do not corrode easily? In this lecture itself we have done it. Second, what are alloys? Third, give reasons for the following. First, platinum, gold and silver, they are used to make jewelries. Why? Second, sodium, potassium and lithium are stored under oil. Third, aluminium is a highly reactive metal, yet it is used to make utensils for cooking. So you have to give the reasons for the 3 questions. Then we have question number 4. You must have seen tarnished copper vessels being cleaned with lemon and tamarind juice. Explain why these sour substances are effective in cleaning the vessels. And the last question, question number 5 is, give reasons why copper is used to make hot water tanks and not the steel. Now let us see the homework solutions of lecture number 5. So you are having first question. What chemical process is used for obtaining a metal from its oxide? And the answer is reduction process. This question, I guess this is repeated. So reduction process is used to obtain metals from their oxides. Different reduction methods like electrolytic, chemical, thermal decomposition, all these methods are used depending upon the stability of the oxide of the metal. Now second question was, in the electrolytic refining of a metal M, what would you take as anode, cathode and electrolyte? And the answer is, in the electrolytic refining of a metal M, impure metal is taken as anode and strip of pure metal is taken as cathode, and solution of salt of metal M is used as a electrolyte. Question number 3 is, what is aluminothermic process? And the answer is, because aluminium is used to reduce certain metal oxides like iron oxide, manganese dioxide, chromium oxide. So this reduction process is highly exothermic in nature, and because of the heat generated, it causes the metal which is reducing in this process to melt, and hence This method of reduction is called aluminothermic process. Alumino with the help of aluminium, thermic heat generation. So aluminium reduction causes generation of heat, and that is why this process is known as aluminothermic process. In this process, the reduced metals, they are obtained in molten state, and that is why this process can also be used for welding purposes. So thank you and have a nice day.